WNBA old guard, the Monica McNutt,
said that Caitlin Clark deserved technical foul. The referees did a great job assessing the Marina Mabry situation.
More people are paying attention and credit Caitlin Clark for the way that she has elevated.
This was I said it was one of the dumbest takes.
Monica McNutt had to say, it's embarrassing, y'all.
Where does this stop?
They called it competition. Monica McNutt went on national TV and actually defended the assault on Caitlin Clark.
Monica McNutt on ESPN lying again, just lying, trying to pretend that nobody's hating, trying to pretend that these people aren't jealous when we all can see it. Disgusting. You was a hater too, Monica McNutt. You was.
Saying Marina Mabry's blindside shove was just a basketball play. No mention of the eye poke. No outrage at the shove. Just silence and spin.
Monica McNutt, in case you don't know, that Marina Mabry foul that was called a technical in the moment has been upgraded to a flagrant 2.
If you stand with Caitlin Clark and see through the lies,
you have gaslighters and fools that will lie to your face.
Drop a CC 100% in the comments, because what's happening isn't physical basketball. It's targeted and it's getting out of control.
Caitlin Clark is a gifted player.
Caitlin is the one.
No comparison to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the most must-watch basketball player in world basketball right now. There's nobody that does what Caitlin Clark does.
She's the biggest basketball star in the world.
How special and rare Caitlin Clark is.
The outrage didn't come from the shove. It came from how the shove was explained. Monica McNutt sat in front of millions and justified Marina Mabry's blindside hit on Caitlin Clark. A shove that came on a dead ball, from behind, and with zero connection to the play. Her words that it was just competitive spirit, that it was handled perfectly.
Monica McNutt basically said the referees did a great job assessing the Marina Mabry situation.
But let's get real. There's nothing competitive about running up behind someone and throwing them to the ground, especially when the refs had already blown the whistle. That's not basketball. That's dirty.
The referees mishandled this situation and you are on TV lying about it. If this was men, Marina Mabry would have been ejected a long time ago. The NBA don't play that They don't play that.
It gets worse. McNutt completely ignored the fact that J.C. Sheldon had already poked Caitlin in the eye just seconds before.
The guy brought up she was poked in the eye, hit it in the face. But Monica absolutely ignores that and has nothing negative to say about Marina Mabry shoving Caitlin Clark over. Says it's a part of competition. What is competitive about that? What is competitive about somebody blindsiding somebody and shoving them?
Clark is backing down J.C. Sheldon. We got a foul. She's going to get hit in the face right around here. She doesn't like it. Now we got shoving. Now we got Marina Mabry knocking her to the ground. What happens here?
Got all the characters, Greenyard. Just a little bit of context. J.C. Sheldon was the 5th draft pick out of Ohio State. She and Caitlin have competed for years in the Big Ten, Iowa and Ohio State. Then you got Marina Mabry, who is a little bit of an enforcer in the league.
Then walked up chest to chest and bumped her. Caitlin pushed back, as any player would, and yet Monica's takeaway? That Caitlin deserved a technical foul.
It says here, she applauds the intensity and defends competitive spirit. The conclusion Monica McNutt came to was that Caitlin Clark deserved the technical foul.
Not Sheldon for instigating, not Mabry for the hit, just Caitlin for defending herself. And this is the same Monica who openly said she leans on the emotions of competition. But apparently that emotion is only valid when it's coming from players targeting Caitlin, not when Caitlin responds. Then she claims that Sophie Cunningham's hard foul later in the game was somehow worse than what Mabry did.
Caitlin Clark gets poked in the eye over and over and over. She's getting fouled nonstop. The refs do nothing about it. Now she can come get blindsided by a player, and that player will just get a normal technical foul. But if Caitlin Clark's teammate does that, they get ejected, just like Sophie Cunningham did. Monica McNutt, you cannot be going on national TV lying. It's disgusting what you did. You never called out the refs for not getting the game under control. Refused to admit it because you too was jealous and hating on Caitlin Clark.
Let's be clear. Sophie's play was during live action. It was physical, yes, but it was a classic in-game foul, trying to prevent a score, not send a message. And unlike Marina's shove, it wasn't from behind, wasn't during a stoppage, and wasn't meant to humiliate. But guess who McNutt singles out as the only one who deserved ejection? Sophie, The one who stepped up after her teammate had been poked, bumped, and blindsided.
Sophie Cunningham's foul was much more in the line of basketball than Marina Mabry's was.
This is where Monica McNutt lost the room. She says Caitlin is a trash talker, as if that justifies physical retaliation. Imagine using that argument in any men's league.
While Caitlin is fantastic and I think she's going to have an incredible career in the WNBA, there are women that were worthy of coverage prior to her arriving, and I just will not be silenced when it comes to that.
You don't get to shove Steph Curry because he talks. You don't get to elbow Luka because he jaws. So why is it okay when it happens to Caitlin Clark? Monica tried to act like she was being balanced, but every word showed bias. She minimized everything that happened to Caitlin and exaggerated everything Caitlin or her teammates did in return. And when you line it up, the eye poke, the bump, the shove, the media spin.
Marina Mabry came up and shoved her to the ground.
The Caitlin Clark getting knocked down by Marina Mabry.
Marina Mabry was dirty, is dirty.
Marina Mabry just cleaning out Caitlin Clark.
It's not just bad officiating anymore. It's a culture that's okay with targeting one player over and over again. And Monica McNutt didn't just defend it, she normalized it.
Clark and J.C. Sheldon have been competing against each other at Ohio State and Iowa, respectively, for years in the Big Ten, competition.
You want to know how wrong Monica McNutt was? Just ask the league she was defending, because not long after she praised the referees and claimed the situation was handled perfectly, the WNBA itself stepped in and upgraded Marina Mabry's foul to a flagrant 2.
Monica McNutt don't know that Marina Mabry foul that was called a technical in the moment has been upgraded to a flagrant 2.
That's not just a small correction. It's the league saying, this was serious, this was dangerous, this should have been an ejection. So how can Monica go on national TV and call that a fair play, a product of competitive emotions, and claim the refs got it right?
Monica McNutt on ESPN lying again, just lying. Just lying. Trying to pretend that nobody's hating, trying to pretend that these people aren't jealous when we all can see it. Disgusting.
Let's rewind. Marina Mabry came in after the whistle, blindsided Caitlin Clark from behind, and threw her to the floor. In the moment, officials only gave a technical. Monica stood behind that, called it fair, but behind the scenes, the WNBA reviewed the play and admitted the truth. This wasn't just rough basketball. It crossed the line. And when a flagrant 2 is issued after the fact, it means officials blew it live.
The WNBA has upgraded the technical foul on Connecticut's Marina Mabry for shoving Caitlin Clark to the floor during Tuesday night's game against Indiana to a flagrant 2.
It means Monica's whole take, her proud public defense, fell apart within hours. And it wasn't just the foul. The whole game spiraled out of control because of bad officiating. That's not fan speculation. Both coaches exploded at the refs, and neither got fined.
It was so bad the WNBA did not fine a coach, by the way. The coaches go in on the refs as much as that. And neither of them got fined, which means it's the league holding their hands up and saying, the league just coming out and saying that their refs messed up.
You know what that means? It means the league agreed. It means the WNBA looked at the footage and said, yeah, we messed up. We're not punishing the coaches because they had every right to be furious. But Monica never mentioned that. She never addressed the missed calls, never talked about the clear bias in how fouls were assessed. Caitlin gets poked in the eye? Nothing. She gets bumped? Nothing. She gets shoved from behind? A technical. Then Sophie Cunningham commits a hard but legal foul in play, and she gets tossed. How does that make sense? It doesn't. That's why fans, players, and analysts were united in outrage.
Fans have come out. Listen to some of the things the fans are saying. They should suspend Marina Mabry for the rest of the season. Marina Mabry deserves a lifetime ban from the WNBA.
Not just over the foul itself, but over the way the game was managed. And let's talk about precedent. This wasn't the first time Caitlin Clark got attacked without consequence. Kennedy Carter, DJ Carrington, we've seen it before. And in both those cases, commentators like Monica were silent or worse,
Prevailing narrative that has been created around this season's WNBA play is that it's the league versus Caitlin Clark, and that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been there building this league to this moment so that Caitlin Clark's popularity could take it to the next level.
Defensive. But when Caitlin pushes someone off her after being bumped in the chest, now we want to call that a technical foul? Now we want to question her emotions? That's the real problem here. Not just the shove, but the double standard. A league that claims to protect its stars has let Caitlin be the target of constant physical play. And when someone finally calls it out, people like Monica rush to smooth it over, pretending it's just basketball energy.
She's a star, you can't touch her, you can't breathe on her, but she can't be the league's fucking punching bag. J.C. Sheldon poked Caitlin Clark in the eye, and I've never seen a player get poked in the eyes.
Or emotions running high. But if this were a different player, if this were Aja Wilson or Brianna Stewart getting shoved from behind during a dead ball, would Monica still be calling it fair? Or would she be demanding accountability? The silence speaks volumes. The downplaying of obvious aggression, the refusal to criticize dangerous conduct, and the willingness to excuse everything as passion until it's Caitlin Clark showing passion, and suddenly it's a problem.
Caitlin Clark didn't start it. This time it began when Connecticut Sun guard J.C. Sheldon poked Caitlin Clark in the eye. And Marina Mabry of the Sun comes up and just shoves Caitlin Clark.
It's not just dishonest, it's dangerous. Because when media voices normalize violence, the league starts to treat it as normal too. And that's why the WNBA had no choice but to go back and reverse the call. They upgraded the foul. They acknowledged their mistake. And in doing so, they exposed just how reckless and biased Monica McNutt's take really was. She wasn't defending basketball. She was defending an agenda. And now even the league she tried to shield has made it clear she got it wrong.
Do I want the WNBA to turn into WWE? No, of course not. But I do think that the idea that competition does not allow for space for tempers to flare at times, that's ridiculous. We can look at this across any sport, right? Particularly when there are men. And if things get heated, we chalk it up to, oh, they were passionate. And it's nothing, right? It was not great.
This isn't just about one shove. It's about a pattern, a disturbing, undeniable pattern. And the truth is, Caitlin Clark has become the most fouled, most targeted.
She was more flagrantly fouled player than anybody else in the league last year. Were all of those competition? Dejanay Carrington, Dejanay the Menace Carrington, stabbing her in the eye with her 6-foot fingernails. Was that competition? What are you talking about? You are on national TV lying and trying to cover up the fact because you are also one of them that was hating too. You're trying to cover it up and act like these people aren't jealous and envious of Caitlin Clark.
And most attacked player in the WNBA. And instead of outrage, the response has been silence, or worse, justification. The league's biggest names in media, Monica McNutt, Natalie Esquire, and others, have either defended the dirty plays or outright laughed them off. This isn't coverage, it's gaslighting.
Natalie Esquire, no place in the game for what Sophie Cunningham did. That warrants further review and penalty from the league. Marina Marbury assaulted Caitlin Clark. Krista said, oh, I get so sweet when Caitlin Clark getting blindsided. Who, mind you, should be ejected. But Sophie gives JC a hard foul and no place in the game for that. Sophie Cunningham did.
Let's walk through it. JC Sheldon pokes Caitlin in the eye, then walks up and bumps into her, and Caitlin gets the technical. Marina Mabry shoves her to the floor from behind, and Monica calls it competitive intensity. Meanwhile, when Sophie Cunningham responds with a hard foul during live play, she gets ejected. The refs didn't even eject Marina. That only came later, after public outcry forced the league to rewatch and upgrade it to a flagrant 2. So when Monica says the officiating was fair, she's ignoring the fact that the WNBA had to step in to fix it after the game, and it keeps happening.
Two things. I think it has to show up in our storytelling, and it has to be encouraged by our families.
Yeah.
To me, right? And so covering the WNBA this past season, Caitlin Clark's rookie year, for all of the conversation that surrounded her, some which was fair and some which wasn't, The one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her. Little girls with their parents and the fervor and the energy there.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America. And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think, same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
Kennedy Carter blindsided Caitlin during a dead ball play earlier this season. No ejection. DJ Carrington scratched her in the eye with her nails. No action. Multiple players have taken shots at Caitlin after the whistle, off the ball, or from behind, and all of it gets shrugged off. Not by fans, not by former players, by the media, by people like Monica McNutt, who are more interested in protecting the narrative than protecting the player. Monica and others try to spin it. They say Caitlin talks trash.
And she's trying to say just because Caitlin Clark is a trash talker, she deserved to get beat up on the court.
If you have a mic on her in game, she's a trash talker too.
That she brings it on herself. Let's talk about that. Since when does trash talk justify physical assault? Michael Jordan talked trash every game. Did that justify cheap shots? Kobe Bryant lived in opponents' heads. Does that make it okay to knock him down during timeouts? Caitlin Clark has every right to talk. She backs it up every night. She's scoring, passing, drawing ratings, and filling arenas. But somehow the media thinks she's earned this treatment. Here's the reality. Caitlin Clark is not the problem. She's the reason the WNBA is relevant right now. Before she arrived, this league struggled to break through the mainstream. Now games are selling out, highlights are trending, TV ratings are skyrocketing.
The most watched games, and it is the second highest viewed game for WNBA, that is. And still, more viewership than Wemby versus Steph, more viewership than Ant versus LeBron, more viewership than KD versus Wemby, more viewership than LeBron versus Zion.
She's doing more for the WNBA than any player has in decades. And how is she rewarded? With eye pokes, body checks, and media hit jobs. And this isn't just disrespect, it's jealousy. You can hear it in the way they talk about her. They minimize everything she does. They attack her character. They defend her attackers. They can't stand the fact that she came into this league and became the face of it overnight. That's what this really is. And Monica McNutt's comments, brushing off cheap shots, pretending aggression is just emotion, refusing to call out the obvious bias, they expose what a lot of us already suspected. There's an agenda, and that agenda has nothing to do with protecting the game. It's about protecting old narratives, keeping certain voices at the top, and anyone who disrupts that, especially someone like Caitlin Clark, who breaks the mold, who comes in with a new audience, new energy, and unmatched attention.
She is just absolutely undeniable.
Caitlin Clark was just different. Caitlin Clark is the system.
Caitlin Clark is
generational talent we've needed.
She is the system.
She's fourth in the league in MVP voting.
Caitlin Clark is an absolute all-star. She is the Michael Jordan of this. This is the girl that girls have been waiting for forever.
Becomes a threat. That's why every time she gets fouled, it's just physical play. That's why every time she responds, it's disrespectful. And that's why when a teammate finally steps up to protect her, like Sophie Cunningham did, that's when the media suddenly decides it's time to call for suspensions and ejections. The double standard is glaring. And yet, through all of it, Caitlin Clark hasn't folded. She keeps showing up, keeps scoring, keeps smiling, keeps speaking with poise. And despite being the target of more aggression than any other player in the league, she's still the reason people are watching.
Ratings go down 50% when she's not there. Ratings rocket through the roof when she is. Everybody has to watch these box office.
Clark scored 32, dished out 9 assists to become the first player in WNBA history to have 100 points, 30 rebounds, 30 assists in a player's first 5 games of a season.
She's still the one lifting the league to new heights, while others are trying to drag her down. This is bigger than basketball. It's about fairness. It's about player safety. And it's about calling out the people who twist the truth to protect their favorites while throwing others under the bus. Monica McNutt might be the loudest voice right now, but she's not the voice of reason. And the more she talks, the more obvious it becomes. This league has a Caitlin Clark problem, and it's not Caitlin. It's the people who can't stand her success.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from three. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from three-point range.
So let's stop pretending this is just competition. Let's stop calling dead ball shoves and eye pokes basketball plays. What Monica McNutt did wasn't analysis. It was damage control for a league that refuses to protect its biggest star.
This is why alternative media is important at times like this. Because you have gaslighters and fools that will lie to your face. Literally look at the camera and dead straight lie to your face.
She still has media credentials, bro. She decided to justify this attack on Caitlin Clark like it was just nothing.
Caitlin Clark is out there taking hits, carrying the league, and still showing more class than the people talking about her. If this is how the WNBA treats the player putting them on the map, then maybe the real problem isn't on the court, it's behind the mic. And for everyone who still sees the truth, drop a CC 100% in the comments. Because if the league and the media won't protect Caitlin Clark, the fans will.